All right, look, resignation's all over the place. Greg Foran's gone. Well, Phil Goff is pushed. Richard Prebble resigns. And also Adrian Orr, the man that armchair economists love to hate. Adrian Orr has resigned as Governor of the Reserve Bank. I think he finishes, the end of this month? And a bit of a shock. And I think details still coming out of what happened. I thought we'd go to one of the guys I trust most to talk about the economy and speaks common sense on it. From Bagrie Economics, my mate Cam Bagrie. Cam, how are you, mate?
Morning, Sean, from the mighty Waikato.
Even the Waikato. Good on you. Look, Cameron, first up, how have markets, what's been the short-term reaction to Orr going?
Not too much, because there's just a bit of speculation as to why. That leads to a little bit of uncertainty, but we just need to move on.
Yeah. Okay, so it doesn't fundamentally shake the cornerstones of our economy. My understanding, Cam, and I don't know if you've heard the same scuttlebutt, he wanted to spend $1 billion or more expanding and upgrading the capacity of the Reserve Bank, and he delivered a message to Nicola Willis that went something like, either give me the $1 billion or I'm going to resign. And she said, whoa, that's a hard choice.
I'm not quite sure where the $1 billion number has come from, but look, what we've seen over the past few years is that the Reserve Bank has had quite a significant funding increase. They've had about a twofold increase in staff numbers, and that's brought a lot more regulatory oversight. There's some people that support that, there's some people that don't, and it's pretty obvious that funding agreement or arrangement, there was a bit of a tension between the provider, i.e. the Minister of Finance, and the Governor. Now, whether that was the big draw card that sort of brought things to this sort of end, we don't know, but there's certainly a bit of speculation out there.
Okay, I imagine this job, it's a quite unusual job, and you need a remarkable person to fill it. Will the government have someone in mind, Cam? How do you go? And you don't put an ad on Seek, do you? Wanted, one Reserve Bank Governor, Wellington-based.
You kind of hope in the first instance that the Reserve Bank itself has been grooming a successor. We've never sort of seen someone internally appointed at the Reserve Bank to replace an outgoing sort of governor. So there's a bit of a test there in regard to how good your internal stuff is. But there is a few candidates that have been muted around the market in New Zealand, and of course you'll go global with this sort of search as well, because it's a high-profile job, it's an important one, and it's pretty well paid.
Will it lead, or what can we expect from the Reserve Bank in the interim?
More of the same, business as usual. Just because you've got the departure of a governor, it does not change the institutional framework, it does not change the way I think the Monetary Policy Committee is going to interact, or the decision-making process out of that. The Reserve Bank is more than the governor, it's an institution, and the institution is still intact. Yeah.
Cameron, I realise we're a small country, and you probably know, Adrian. And it's difficult sometimes in a small country to be honest about people that we know who hold high-profile jobs. Was he a good Reserve Bank governor?
Well, I think people need to appreciate the job that any central bankers have had over the past sort of 5 to 6 years. It's been helplessly hard.
Yeah.
Because courtesy of COVID, courtesy of expansionary fiscal policy, we let the inflation genie out of the bottle. And central banks have had to go pretty hard crushing the New Zealand economy to get inflation back in check. And that doesn't create too many sort of friends. And that is difficult for any individual in a job. I guess if there's one area that I think Adrian pushed too far on, was these capital rules with banks, where he got banks to hold more capital, and all it's done is just crush the business sector, and banks have lent more into the housing market at the expense of the business sector, which is, of course, where your productivity hub comes from across your general economy.
Geez, that's a good point.
There needs to be a
Yeah.
There needs to be a bit of redress there.
Okay. But overall, I mean, come on, give me. I know it sounds trite. Out of 10.
I'm not going to give you a scorecard, Sean. I just don't think that's appropriate. You know, what's the most important thing is that we've got an institution that is an integral part of the New Zealand economy. It's an integral part of life, and it's critical that that institution lives on, and it will live on.
All right. Okay. How long do you think it'll take them to find a replacement?
Oh, it depends how quickly they can put a list together, but I suspect you'd want to move pretty quickly.
Okay. You interested? Yeah. You interested in the job?
I've got a pretty good day job at the moment myself. Yeah.
Indeed you have. Hey, Cam, thank you for taking the time to talk to us. We'll catch up soon.
All right.
Good talking. Cheers. Cameron Bagrie from Bagrie Economics. Look, I quite like it when I talk to someone like Cameron who isn't, he's not a walking headline. He is an analyst and he analyses business and numbers and stuff. And he says, well, look, it's an institution. Guy resigns, not the end of the world. We get so used, don't we, to sensationalising everything that happens in the world instead of saying that's just the world turning. That's a bit of change, Air New Zealand doesn't collapse because Greg Foran's moved on. Maybe Luxo could go back to the airline. Maybe that's what this is all about.